Hi everybody, my name is Anarina Hyman.
Hi, I'm Sean Zelig-Aster.
And we are joining you on 929 for the Book of Judges. Sean, before we get into the book itself, I just want to give our viewers a little bit of an overview to understand what happened before so that we can really appreciate what's happening in the book itself. Now, we are coming from Yetziat Mitzrayim. Moshe took the people out of Egypt and we received the Torah at Sinai. And for 40 years, we had to wait for the generation of war to die out. In that time, Israel had to saturate themselves with the Torah. But as you know, and I want you to think about that just a little bit, most of the Torah could only be applied once they entered Eretz Israel. And that's what makes us so different from all the other nations, where our national purpose preceded our territorial existence. So now Moshe gave it over to Joshua. Joshua had to take the people over the Yarden, over the Jordan River. And again, everything is paralleled here. We have God saying to Joshua exactly what he said to Moshe. And he said, you have to take Kol HaTorah, all of the Torah, and you have to ponder upon it day and night if you want to succeed in the land that you are entering right now. And that brings us to this chapter. Now, it's very interesting. We have the first chapter that sort of follows Joshua, and then we're going to get into the second chapter where we come a little bit back to Joshua itself, and then we're going to really get into the drama. So, Sean, when I'm reading the Tanakh here, I see that there's a lot of talk about boundaries. We see that the people realized they don't have a Moshe, they don't have a Joshua, and they have to go by themselves now, and they have to proceed with establishing and settling the land.
Right, and when we look at the first chapter of Judges, the first chapter of Sefer Shoftim, we see a recurring theme from verse 27 and on. We see V'lo horish Menashe in verse 27, Menashe did not dispossess, and then in verse 28, Ephraim did not dispossess, and in verse 30, Zvulun did not dispossess, and in verse 31, Asher did not dispossess, Naphtali in verse 33, and so on. Now, it's important to note several points. First of all, the idea of dispossessing the Canaanites and moving the Canaanites completely out of the land is not historically realistic. And Sefer Shoftim chapter 1 focuses on historical reality, focuses on what is practical and what is realistic and what is reasonable to do for the Israelites. Second of all, and perhaps more importantly, this first chapter of Shoftim portrays the Israelites as a group of tribes. Ephraim acts independently, Menashe acts independently, Naphtali acts independently, and so on. There is no national leader. There is no Moshe, there is no Joshua. Each tribe acts on its own. And for that reason, we get now to the third point, for that reason, in each area of the land, the picture of Israelites and Canaanites is different. There are areas where, as we see as the picture of Ephraim, Ephraim does not dispossess the Canaanites, but the Canaanites become subservient to Ephraim. In contrast, if we look at the picture of Asher, in verse 31, we see the Asheri living among the Canaani. The Canaani is the most dominant. So in Asher, in the north part of the country, the Canaanites are dominant. In the central part of the country, around Ephraim, the Israelites are dominant. Yet the Canaanites are still there. And there we find here, both in the Psukim, in the verses in the Torah, and in Sefer Shoftim, and in the archaeology, a very interesting division. By and large, in the hill country, in the higher places, the Israelites are dominant. In the lower places, the Canaanites are dominant.
So something very interesting that we see here is that they didn't dispossess the nations, and that was very clear that God said when you go into the land you have to completely drive them out. But what you're saying is practically it wasn't that easy just to do, and that's something that we're going to struggle with through the whole book of Judges. We're going to show you a little bit around in the next video just to see why we're standing at the place that we're standing right now.